My name is Benny Guzman. I am the Vice Chair of the Public Arts Commission. I am going to start this meeting. Currently, right now, we do not have quorum. So unfortunately, that means that we cannot vote on any decisions being made. However, I will leave this up to you all. What we can do still is run through our applications. We'll kind of do it as quickly as we can just to get out some of the bigger issues that we might see. And then I will work with our public arts coordinator, Ann, to schedule a special meeting to invite you all back so that way we can vote on that. I do apologize. Right now, we are down a few commissioners in terms of the actual commissioners on the board, meaning that where we typically would have 11, we currently only have 9 members. So when not everybody can be here, it puts us at a worse advantage. So I do apologize on behalf of the commission, but right now we have a few people out, and unfortunately, we do not have quorum, so legally cannot vote on any of these things. Yes. Yeah.
No, it would take place this month.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna try to get this.
Next week.
Yeah, we're gonna get this done as soon as we can, because I do appreciate you all for being here, for your timeliness, for your effort. But yes, unfortunately, that's just the circumstances. We are volunteers, we have jobs, we have other commitments, but that still doesn't make it better. So
I have a question though. Does everyone have to be here in order for us to vote on their projects?
no, so
Could
that
we vote independently, like,
We can meet and vote.
So
Yeah.
what, in theory, we're saying is that we could hear everybody's applications and presentations now, and then
Yes.
we could, since it's recorded, we could either play that back for when we're all collectively as a commission together, so y'all don't have to necessarily come back for a second time. But we will vote, and then we can either alert
Yep.
you, call you, shoot an email, whatever, communicate somehow if we have any questions, comments, concerns, and go from there. If you want, if that's okay.
Yeah, yes, because essentially this is, what we'll do this meeting is we'll run through applications, go through any areas, again, of concern, questions we may have, just so we can get that out of the way. Again, we'll try to run through this real quickly. But yes, for the next meeting, for this next meeting, we'll try to make it, again, just a quick, yes, let's vote, let's get it out of the way and go over anything. Again, I do apologize, but that's kind of the situation we're in right now. Yep.
Thank
So, yep.
Thank you.
So, yes, I appreciate you all. But for the commissioners here, I will have us all just introduce ourselves. Again, I'm Benny Guzman, the vice chair.
I'm Maggie.
Sophia.
Emmanuel Carter.
All right, so that calls the meeting to order. Attendance introductions. We can't review and we can look over the minutes, so just mark any issues that needed to come up, but we can't vote to approve them. So for those of us here, if you want to look just real quick to see if there's anything major that's standing out that's wrong or needs to be updated. It'll take like 5 minutes just to get through that.
I had some questions about that.
Okay. Okay. I think, all right. And just for the sake of time, I think we'll just move forward with the applications. Again, for the commissioners here, please just review it. If there's any issues, we can discuss this and approve them at our next meeting time. But yeah, so now we'll kind of move into our applications. Right now, we are having, we're bringing up just the applications here for anybody who needs to present any of the images or wants to discuss any specific points. Not required. We ask that you just do speak into the mic. So first up, we have SPAC 2511, Joe Driscoll.
Joe, you can use this too if you need the screen, whatever you
What's
want.
that?
You can use this mic too if you want to
Yes.
use the screen,
Oh,
whatever you
okay.
want to do.
I'll just stay here. That's
Okay.
fine. Whatever you guys want.
It's up to you. It's your call, bud.
I'm good.
So feel free.
I'm used to this position, so. I'll stick with what's familiar. Yeah, so Do I start? You want me to
Yeah, so
introduce
just-
the project? Sorry, it's my first time here.
No, yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
How is that possible? Yeah.
Thank you.
How is that possible?
I don't know. At least my first time presenting here. I've been a part of a lot of art, but I've never been the presenter, I don't think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so just run us through the basics behind the project,
Yep.
timeline, et cetera.
So basically, this is part of the Reconnecting Communities planning project, planning grant that the city won. Reconnecting Communities, we won 2 different grants, one for $180 million. This one is not that. This is a grant we won for $500,000. Basically, the goal of this grant is to look as we take 81 down to grade level, looking at connectivity issues on 4 major arteries in the city, Adams and Harrison, MLK, Taylor, and Colvin. So basically, we did a lot of community engagement. Basically, we did what's called the box. We set up public engagement feedback cards throughout the corridor, throughout this neighborhood. We did a lot of 2 or 3 public engagement events. One that was really big was the Blueprint 15 Easter egg event, where we asked people. There was about 500 people at the event. We got a lot of response. Asked people where they felt we should focus on doing traffic calming measures. This was the #1 response in front of Martin Luther King School on MLK Boulevard between Oakwood and Leon. And so basically a part of why we chose Stantec, who is the consultant for this project, is they said they weren't just going to give us a study, that they were going to do something before the study was done. So this is basically, this grant is a planning grant. So it's a study looking at how do we improve pedestrian bike activity in this corridor. And so this is one of the main features that made us want to choose Stantec, is they do a process of public engagement, and then public art meets traffic calming. So basically, they engaged the art teachers from Martin Luther King School, and these designs were done by, I believe, the 5th grade art class. Yeah, and so yeah, Anne's gonna circle in on some of them. But the students kind of came up with these ideas. Stantec gave them the lines where they wanted the traffic calming to happen. So these are like reducing the lane widths to make people want to drive slower and make it safer for bikes and pedestrians. So yeah, these are the designs that the kids came up with. And there's some really fun stuff in there. Smiley face flowers, excellence with, yeah. Oh, now you done did it. There you go.
It's fine. We can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got it.
Yeah, don't want to risk it. And then, there's excellence. They have like school books and, papers, a lot of school themed stuff. And then they also had a lot of sports stuff. So yeah, it's really cool. It's fun.
Very nice.
Does that make sense? Any questions?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So, the painting, will that be done in collaboration? Like, will the youth be actually painting this as well? And how is that supervision gonna work too?
Yeah. So we have about 15 adults, 16 adults that are going to get there early in the morning. And basically they've taken the images and they're making cutouts and stencils to make sure that it executes the kids' vision in black beforehand. And then we'll have a lot of volunteers come through. We don't know how many, but we're doing it in a kind of triage spirit, so that we're going to do the most essential ones first. And then if we don't have time to get to the others, we'll take it up before we go. Yeah, so if anybody else...
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
We need help doing some volunteer coordinating stuff.
Yeah, we would love any support you guys could help provide. Any friends, artists. I know there's a lot of my community-minded artist folks that I collaborate with in the room. If anybody wants to come down, we're going to be doing it Juneteenth, Thursday. Being that it's a holiday, we thought kids could come out, everybody from the neighborhood could come out. It's in front of MLK School, neighborhood themed. So yeah, we're going to be sending out blasts over the next day or two to, like I said, we have about 15, 16 solid volunteers that are like solidly committed, but we're going to be doing our best between now and then to rally up some more troops in the next week and a half. Yeah, we start at 8 a.m., so we're doing the pre-work from 8 to noon, and then general public joins us at around noon, and then we go from noon to 5 to try to fill in what has been laid out between 8 o'clock and noon.
Very nice. Yeah. Any other questions?
So just to review really quickly, sorry. So this is going to be like, how is it physically going to be implemented onto the surface itself? Like, are we doing, like, what are the textures that we're using here? Like, what kind of, or is it like a roll-on paints? Is it like, what are we talking?
Yeah, there's like a roll-on. I think it's. I wish Adam was here from the consultant, but it's like, do you know? It's like an enamel, whatever it is. They have a very specific.
Is it in the application? Sorry.
It's supposed to be a temporary, because it's a demonstration project.
Okay.
So it's
That's
only.
that's why I was asking.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
only projected to last for the summer, and then either DPW can come and remove it, or it can stay and fade. It depends on what they decide at the end of the summer, I believe. Is
Yeah,
that
we'll
what
see how it does in the demo project, but then we'll either take it up before the snow hits, or decide to go more permanent and go down the route of investigating how we make it a more permanent project.
Okay. And that's something you guys will determine at a later date?
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe in the early fall we'll kind of talk to, we're also working very closely with the DVW team, and Neil Burke and Kevin Busa and Stephanie Benerick have all looked at this, and they're gonna, keep an eye on it to see how people respond to it. Because I'm forgetting the word. Probably Professor knows. Chicanes, is it? Yeah, it's that
chicane.
thing there we've never done in Syracuse before. So there's kind of some new designs of like, and we have delineators that are going to be up, like plastic delineators to separate the areas to make them safer for pedestrians. So it's very much, a demo project, experimental project to see how it'll do, and then that'll determine whether we go through before the snow hits and clean it all off, or look to pursue it more permanently.
I guess my only other thing, and this is just kind of in an effort of fairness to
Yep.
everyone, is this like, I know that you don't have exactly what y'all want to do, but if it were anyone else, we would ask, like, if you, once you do have something a little bit more concrete as to what physically is going to be implemented, is there a way we could see that, or is there a way that we could, not that, I mean, it's kids, it's school,
Yeah.
it's totally cool, like, I'm sure it's not going to be a problem at all, but if it were anybody else, we would ask for, like, some more finalized imagery to be, that would be put down?
I
So
think this is the finalized.
This
This
is
is the
finalized?
finalized.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think the only thing is what I was saying about the triage method is we're probably like the excellence thing we're going to do first. Like the kind of the key
misunderstood, I'm
areas,
sorry.
we're going to do that, and then if we have enough volunteers, we'll implement it all in one day. If not, we might have to come back and go
Oh, I
through
see
the
what you
process
mean.
again.
Okay.
But like we would just be doing like, because it is fairly ambitious to get it all done
sure.
in a day, is like we will look at the most important pieces and do that first, and then we either won't implement the other aspects, or we will come back to y'all to get further permission to do the full project if we need to do a second take at it.
Sorry, I misunderstood you. You're right.
Yeah,
I'm
does
sorry,
that
my
make
bad.
sense?
No, it
Yeah,
doesn't. I
these are
misunderstood you. I'm
these are
sorry.
exactly what you will see.
Beautiful.
These are
Okay,
the
cool.
finished images.
Thank
It's
you.
just
Sorry.
we don't know if we'll be able to implement all of it in one day.
I gotcha. Okay,
That makes
thanks.
sense.
I think it sounds like fun.
My only comment, where are you going to block the road? Because I presume you're going to close the road off.
Yeah, we are doing barricades, and it'll be just shortly past where the artwork is in every area, and they will be more. We will have staff watching them, so that if people need to absolutely access, certain aspects, we will guide them through to their,
Like a block party.
yeah.
I think it sounds fun.
Yeah, we're really excited. This group Stantec has done this in Jersey City, Rochester, a bunch of other places. This is kind of a signature of their traffic calming effort. So it's been very successful in their other regions. So I'm excited to see it in Syracuse.
Awesome. Really appreciate the community engagement aspect.
Yeah, we've definitely tried to make that a centerpiece of it.
Just the one other thing, if at some point this does become a permanent fixture, like if decide in October, I think we would need to do
Come back.
another. Well, we would need to come back to do another one, because right now what we'll be approving, I'm not saying we're not. But,
Yes.
what it would be with that,
keep you on
we
the
are
edge.
approving the temporary fixture for June through the October.
Yep.
And then if you would need to do that, and that's also something that you can come, if you come in like July, like, no, people want this here, we can definitely do that.
Sure.
But it would be something where if we want us to approve the permanent fixture, you would need to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Understood.
And then
Hope it does become permanent. I feel like that'd be really cool there.
Yeah, I'm really hopeful too.
Yeah.
And then just thinking that this is scheduled to paint next Thursday, we're going to make our best effort to meet Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, depending on
Absolutely.
which day we can get that many people together.
Absolutely. And if not next week, we're going to work with this. We're going to do
Okay.
our best.
Yep.
I think this is something that we all really like. Again, for legal reasons, I can't say we approve it,
Yes.
but we're going to work with this to make this happen.
Totally understood. Thank you.
Right. And I think, any other questions? All right. Thank you, Joe.
Great.
Job, Joe.
Thanks so much,
Good
everyone.
job, Joe.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
Thank
y'all.
you.
Next, Powered by Wonder, Tommy Lincoln. Do you want to, would you like to pull it up here? Or? Yeah.
Sorry.
If you just go back, there should be the link. Oh, wait, towards the top, the internet browser. And then it should be the second. Oh, no, it's right there. Nope, one more. Yep. So next we have SPAC 2512, Powered by Wonder. And yeah, you guys can take it away when you're ready.
Okay. Good afternoon. So my name is Ray Manassa. I'm with United Way of Central New York. I had the honor of speaking with you last year when Tommy did this as well. Just wanted to give a little preamble in terms of what this is being done for and why this exists. So in 2023, Tommy Lincoln designed a tight community, a mural at Huntington Family Center to coincide with United Way of Central New York's annual Day of Caring. You can see it on the screen there at the top with the birds. The Day of Caring is the single largest day of volunteer service in Onondaga County. That first year when Tommy did that design, that was 1,200 people completed more than 100 projects at nonprofits and community-based organizations in Central New York. A tight community was the centerpiece for Huntington Family Center. Today, that mural continues to inspire children, seniors, and staff at Huntington and the near West Side residents. As Mary Lou Sales, executive director of Huntington, told me, every single day it makes us smile. I'll also say that one of the young children that's in the daycare program was one of those names on the side of the wall, one of those people that was able to paint. She lives across the street, and every day she looks out and says, I painted that bird. So in 2024, the Day of Caring returned, along with 1,444 volunteers. Tommy once again volunteered to create a mural for another deserving nonprofit, A Tiny Home for Good. Let's Build the Future is a wonderful addition to the Southside neighborhood, drawing smiles and inspiring young minds every day, just as a tight community did. For nonprofits like United Way of Central New York, Huntington Family Center, and A Tiny Home for Good, installing a mural on the Day of Caring is more than just public art. From creation to installation, it's a volunteer effort that demonstrates the power of an individual to get involved and make a difference. Physically, it leaves a lasting mark on a wall, but it also creates an indelible impression on the volunteers who will help create it and viewers for years to come. As we begin counting down the days until this year's Day of Caring on August 7th, we hope you'll consider supporting our 2025 mural with Tommy in Armory Square to celebrate the most in downtown Syracuse.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That way we can attack this like that. Since you guys can't vote today, we can just approach it with
Yeah.
questions.
No, I get, my main question actually is just preparing the wall because it is a really large space. I know that it's just very large. So
It's
like, what's
big.
that process going to be like? And-
Yeah, so we're gonna power wash it. We're gonna go down the whole wall and power wash it to get it all cleaned off, and then scrub it down any spot. It's a pretty bare wall already.
Okay.
The main issue with it right now is grime. There are some areas that are kind of like broken that we'll seal. Once we do all the power washing and that dries, we'll paint it with a sealer and primer. And then once the sealer and primer is laid down, we'll lay down the outlines and start filling it in.
Gotcha. And correct me, is this also something we're going to have volunteers participate in?
Yeah,
this?
so
Okay.
we're gonna invite the entire Syracuse community, downtown community, any kind of kids groups. The most has a lot of different summer camp groups, so we'll get those kids involved. Any other kind of schools in the area that want to get kids involved. I'd like it, in my mind, I'd like this to be like a really big community day where everybody's out there contributing to it. Like with the tight community mural, I'm reserving a space to the left of the tunnel for everybody's name to go on the wall that helps paint it. There's a big area there that we'll also paint black, and we'll go through and put everybody's name on it. So people can come back and say, yeah, I participated in this. And I think it's fun for kids as they grow to see things that they've, participated in. And also that area back there is, it was pretty, dingy and dark right now. So putting something like this back there will just brighten it up for families kind of looking for parking or, shopping around, going to the most.
How many square feet is that?
1 million.
A lot, right?
I
Yeah.
measured, the top of the highest wall because the wall shrinks as you go.
Right.
Yeah.
So I measured the top of the wall and then the base of the wall, and that's what I gave Purcell's for the measurement, which was like, it was big. They were like, "Whoa, that's a lot." And I was like, "Yeah, well, how much is that going to cost me in paint?" And
That's
then-
what I was
yeah,
thinking.
which it actually wasn't as it wasn't as bad, and I have a lot of paint left over from other murals that I've done too. But like in past, the community throws down on this, the United Way gets involved, a lot of their partners get involved, so it just becomes the community pitching in to brighten up the area.
So as far as you said, you were looking for or interested in people to obviously like volunteer, contribute, whatever. Do you have like dates and times for that stuff too? Because if we can push it on our social media platforms, we'd be happy to.
What's the day of caring?
August 7th, it says?
August 7th. And I'll be prepping the wall and doing work before, leading up to the event.
Okay.
The day of the event, there'll be outlines and some colors started.
Okay.
And then when people show up, it'll kind of be a paint by colors, where I'll have colors specifically marked out on the
dope.
wall. And then when kids come up, I'll give them a little thing of paint, a little roller, and then
Yeah.
they can go at the wall. And
Sweet. So August 7th is the day that
Is
you
the
would
big
want.
day.
That's that day.
Yep.
Okay. Is there like a time frame?
The whole, the piece around this that was the volunteer aspect is, this is all in support of, we have volunteercny.org.
Oh, okay.
Volunteercny.org is a open, and I was going to say to Joe before he left, any organization, any nonprofit who wants to post a need at any point 24/7 throughout the entire year can always do that. We did the Day of Caring because after COVID, it was bare. We didn't have we didn't have volunteer activities, we didn't have places for people to go. So the Day of Caring was brought back so that we could refill that and start to say to all of our nonprofits, you have an opportunity to connect with volunteers who in large part will turn into possibly donors or into supporters or entire corporate teams. On the Day of Caring itself, there will be a corporate team will be there. One of our presenting sponsors will be there and in and outside of the most. But Bridge Street will be broadcasting from Channel 9. There will be a lot of the same coverage that every year we kind of say, here's this awesome thing that's going on the wall. Here's this volunteer work that's being done because Tommy is volunteering all of that effort.
Sure.
Purcell's is donating the paint. I still have to ask for as much paint as is going to be required, but
Right.
it's largely based on saying we could, as volunteers, do art. We could do something that makes somebody feel it some way in this community.
Right. Of
course.
And that can be putting your talent to use.
Sweet.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you. Any other questions?
I was just going to ask, do you need volunteers to do the pre-work, to do the sealing and the power washing?
Probably, usually how I've done it in the past is like the power washing, we're hoping we're going to get a company to come help out and donate their time to come check it out. After that, usually me and Mike Gentasi usually just spray it.
All right.
Spend the day spraying it. But, if volunteers want to come help roll as we spray, I'm always up for more
Sure.
So big.
it is very big, but the shapes that I have on there are they're just very simple shapes. And it's very simple fills. That way when, if we have little kids do it, I can say, come up to this spot right here and just paint blue.
Right.
There's no wrong.
And here's the blue.
It's just them
Right.
going at the wall. So, keeping it large shapes like that, it's not too intricate.
Yeah.
Once all the color's done on that day, then I'll go back in with black and I'll do all the outlines.
So the only other question I have is because you mentioned the most, but I don't necessarily see like an MOU, a letter from them. Are you in talks with like education people? Okay.
Yeah, she's in there's a large group chat of everybody involved with she's
Okay. If you can just get like something from her, just to
and
say
we
that we have
the owner of the wall is Northwest,
the railway. Yeah.
and we have
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So that. Yeah. Yeah, because we have that, and we have a few other letters from like other businesses around the area. So I just want to make sure, just because it is kind of related to the most, I want to make sure that
Lori's
they're
been in contact, and I think in the email chain she says this is awesome.
okay. Perfect.
The most will be the day of caring broadcast.
Day of caring, like,
Ah,
They're-
gotcha.
the day of caring is for the
So
most.
whenever we do the broadcast from one
Yes.
central place and do it live, it's try to affiliate
Gotcha.
that we're going
So
to have
okay.
something at the
It's
same
based
time.
on STEAM education.
Right. No, no, no. Yeah. No, I mean, I guess for me, I didn't make that like, because I know that the Day of Caring is typically like an organization. It's at a building. There's something there, but I didn't put together like, oh, it's because it's not on the most. That's why I didn't put that together. But that makes a lot more sense now. Uh-huh.
And for anybody that wants these numbers here too, if somebody gets like really into it and they want to see what those numbers mean, it's just 1 to 0. You punch that in. In code, that spells out tech.
Oh.
So it's just a fun little Easter egg for people when they're
Yeah. Cool.
Ray. That was the first thing Ray asked me. Like, those numbers say something.
And yeah, where are we looking that up again?
You know they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you punch those in and type in the ski language, you'll get the.
Awesome. Anything?
Whose parking spots are that?
Is that the part of the trolley lot right there? Not sure.
Honestly, I don't know when this overhead was taken.
Okay, it
I
might
don't
not
even
be
know if- I
there.
don't even know if there's parking spots there.
Right.
Well, it wouldn't really affect them.
No, I was just wondering, just in
Yeah.
case there was any sort of overspill.
Conflict. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't even see. My eyes are so bad. They're on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a hangout up there.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you both. Again, I cannot say approved or not, but we appreciate you for coming in. And again, we're going to get everybody back in to vote on these things. But thank you guys. We appreciate it. All right. Next, we have SPAC 2513. Sarah with the Utility Box Art Project. We should be able to.
I think so. I think this does that.
They're painting the one outside my work.
Oh, I remember this last year. We
Yeah.
did a thing with a chair. It's also performance art right now.
Yep. And you can feel free to use this microphone here. Yep.
This moves. So you can be closer.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
So take it
Hi,
away.
everybody. So, bear with me with this kind of awkward setup.
Oh, you're good.
So the Downtown Foundation, in partnership with the Downtown Committee of Syracuse, we started a pilot program in 2024 showcasing the artistic talent in our region by enhancing overlooked public infrastructure, utility boxes, and activating these spaces in the streetscape with dynamic works of public art. And a large component of Unbox was engaging with the community through their input, and parts of the program and process were developed with this in mind, and we followed this through into round 2. We'll see if this plays. So we found great success in round 1 of this program, and the first 3 utility boxes painted by 2 local artists, Allie Walker and Lydia Nichols. The reception of these works have been really positive, and we've heard some really great feedback. Love seeing people on the street walking and just getting a smile from what they see, and want to thank the committee also for their support of round 1 of this program and just having that go forward and happen. We're really excited to share round 2 with you. There we go. So the box locations, again, were chosen by gathering data on where the most heavily either graffitied or defaced boxes in downtown Syracuse are, and we use the data pulled from our environmental maintenance team based on hours spent cleaning, materials, all of that, to kind of identify these spaces that we wanted to have some sanctioned artwork for, also taking into consideration areas that would benefit from having something, whereas an area that would love to have a little bit of public art, have a little shine in that corner. So we looked at those, and the final 3 boxes selected, taking all of that into account. We have one by the Carnegie Building over in Cathedral Square, one by the corner of the Landmark Theater, and one over kind of on the corner off of Perseverance Park across from the Pike Block over where East Fayette and West Fayette kind of intersect by Salina. There's a big old box right there. So the goal for this, let me just make sure I'm on the slides. There are the beautiful boxes right now. You can see the new Noble Cellar in the background, parking things for an event, you know it's outside the Landmark that way, and the Pike Block in the background. So the goal for this is to have hand-painted artwork and while creating a vibrant, energized streetscape. And we've seen the success of this in real time, and the 3 boxes that we've had up that went up in the fall, we've only had 2 small instances of damage to the boxes, a small paint pen on one of them that was taken care of by the artist, and like it took her 10 minutes to touch it up, and one small sticker that looks like it was like a little kid sticker stuck on from a sticker book. So that's it for being up for
good, yeah, that's
Right.
3 boxes, having it up. Sorry, I'm all hunched over. I feel like a little ogre here. So for having 3 boxes up, having the artwork up for that amount of time, to only have 2 very small instances, we've been really happy because it also, we feel that it shows that people really that like the artwork, they're respecting the artwork, and yeah, it's brightening the day in many ways. So the utility boxes are public property, are city property, and the Downtown Committee has an annual agreement in place with the City of Syracuse as it relates to public space improvements and services provided to the downtown district. We work in partnership to identify priorities and leverage resources to have the greatest impact. And the Unboxed project was identified as one of those public space improvement projects, and it continues to receive support as we engage in round 2 of the project. So I identified the boxes. The next step was to engage with local artists. We put out an open call via our social media channels and our weekly newsletter, and local artists were invited to submit up to 3 designs for this project. They could be 3 different designs for the 3 different boxes, or 3 designs for the same box. We kind of put that choice out there, and we got a variety of different submissions. They had to be 18 years or older, must reside in Onondaga County, and preference given to artists in the greater Syracuse area, but we did get a lot of like Syracuse-based artists, which we really like because it also helps create a platform for our local artists here. And we asked artists to determine their fee and payment for their work as part of the detailed budget. And as each artist establishes their own budget, the materials that they prefer to work with, we look at it as a capacity building thing. People are looking at their own time, effort, and understanding of their art. And that was part of the submission process, as well as a submission description of the work that they were going to do and illustrations of the work so we could have an understanding of it. And we received 11 submissions. One was from an artist that was part of the process last year, but what we made new this year was that if you were chosen as one of the artists to install the previous round, that you are ineligible for this one. Doesn't mean you're ineligible for future ones, just so we can continue to expand the portfolio and diversity of the artists within downtown. So that was part of the process. So then we got 10 full applications for this, and we did a review panel of community stakeholders, including arts organizations. We're provided with all submitted designs and supporting materials from the artists, and 2 finalists for each of the boxes was chosen for this. And scoring and selection were based on a variety of factors, looking at the design, if it will be appeal to a broad variety of tastes, that the artists articulated their creative process, they contribute to the diversity of downtown public art portfolio, a couple of, a good list that they all did a review of. And so that, they were able to do the statements, and from that, 2 finalists for each location were shared out to the public for voting. Oh, you guys, I leaked it. Oh no, you're gonna know in just a second. So it's time, sorry, it's a little like, where am I? So we did put it out for voting via our social media and our newsletter. It went through, congratulations, by the way. He already knows, it's not a surprise. We got really good response. We use a voting platform called Qualtrics that we set up, so people would go on, they go to the link, and they could vote once for each location. Last year, we got over 300 people that engaged with the voting. This year we got over 1,300.
Oh, wow.
So really shows the interest and the engagement that the first round brought, that the artists brought for this year. So we're really happy with that increased engagement. So now the 3 winning artists.
Honey Lincoln.
Oh my gosh.
What do you mean?
So our 3 artists, we're really excited. We have for location 1, Puji-san's Mystery in the Ozone, and that's going to be over in front of the Carnegie building over in Cathedral Square. Location 2, which is over by the Landmark Theater, is Monster Art Box by Tommy Lincoln. And then location 3 is Iris Williams' Q's Pride. And, you know, some of that, it was really fun to watch the voting. This is like, I'm not a sports person. Maybe this is how people see like a sports game is going on. It's like, ooh, someone's pulling heads. So it's really wonderful to see that amount of engagement. I know we're running short on time. We have what each artist proposed, like their description of the proposal. I'd be happy to read that, but it's also information I can send out. I know with time it's...
Well, and we have a lot of the information here about
you're so
the
thorough.
artists. So
You're
you're-
doing
I
really
tried.
good
If I
job.
forgot anything,
No,
please.
you're good.
It's my fear of forgetting something.
No, you're really good.
So we're really excited with these 3. We're incredibly excited to see these go up. We are hoping to have them be able to start installation sooner than later. So I appreciate the situation that the commission is in, and well, thank you for, if you have something next week, that would be awesome. So, but totally understand.
Yeah,
You know.
I just saw that. So you're looking to begin installations on June 14th.
We were hoping
Okay.
with our initial timeline.
That's Friday, or this upcoming Saturday.
We'll let the artists know. We'll let them know that there's a delay. It's fine. They knew that we were they knew that we were presenting to the commission. All the winning artists have been notified. That's why I was like, Tommy's not surprised. Don't worry. They've been let know, and that we're just asking them to hold off because we know we need the approval from the committee before we can say that this is happening. So we will let them know tomorrow just to hold off for a week. It's okay.
So if we could, let's see. So June. Let me just pull up the calendar here. So June 14th.
I appreciate it,
is-
you guys. I know we're
No,
all
I'm
on-
sorry. This is kind of unfair to you, so I can dig it. Okay, because we have to get Joey's done too before Juneteenth, which is the 19th. So it's got to be like Monday or Tuesday,
Yeah.
next Monday or Tuesday, kind of without shakes or quakes.
Yeah. So we're gonna. Yeah.
So either by the 16th, I will definitely update you and let you know obviously where everything stands. But
you.
by the 16th or 17th at the very
Yeah,
latest.
we gotta.
Awesome.
You know what I
That would be
mean?
great. Yeah, because then the artists will have about a month, just under a month, to work on installation. We know with weather
Yeah, for sure.
recently, with rain, it might push it off. So we just given them enough time with our budget and project budget, which
Absolutely.
yeah. And so the project is funded completely through grants. Currently, we still have a CNY Arts grant for regional arts and cultural engagement grant, and we have grant funding from the CNY Community Foundation to help with this, and that also includes maintenance and upkeep. So if we need to pay the artist to come in to do any updates on their art, if there's been any damage or defacement to it, we want to pay them to be able to update it. Or if it's something that we can remove, like graffiti or a sticker, our maintenance team will take care of it. So we've built that into our budget for the ongoing upkeep of these items. So
Nice. Awesome.
I think it's my last slide, but I can't guarantee you at the moment. Oh, upkeep
yep.
and maintenance, there we go.
Perfect.
We'll have an orientation with each artist to assess the location of boxes so they know what it is. Our staff will clean the site so there's not glass, or just make sure it's clean, safe, that they know where, like, be careful of this. Like, this is a busy street. Make sure if you're working that you're noting cars. And yeah, so that's the project funding, support, questions, anything I can
thank you.
answer.
I do have one question about Puji. Pudgy?
I think it's Poochie.
Puji. Just because his design is a little bit more abstract, is this going to be exactly what he paints, or how is the process? Because the others are a little bit more representational. I'm just kind of curious, like, how that's gonna.
It's my understanding, it's when we have our application process, there's an application that all the artists fill out, and then there is also something that they digitally sign off on, that what they have submitted is going to be what will be represented, unless there's any updates or changes from our office. for one of the last ones, there was the telescope, and we wanted to make sure the height was good for people to look into. So we're taking those things into account. There won't be any, for this one, I don't foresee any changes. It is the understanding, so it's something that we'll reinforce with the artist.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
and
you
it's,
see in their
for me,
process.
it's just making sure that like this is.
This is what's, yeah,
Yes.
we want to make sure
Yeah.
that what we received as the application is going to be what's there, because that's why it was chosen, because that's what resonated with people. So,
Very nice.
yeah, and they sign off on it saying this will be the image that
Yep.
what I'm submitting is what
And
I'll put.
I understand that, like, especially with abstraction,
Yeah.
I'm looking for 80% similar at the very.
You know what?
Yeah.
Yes, we're
That's
not
what
going to
I'm
be
gonna
going
shoot
being
for.
like, this line is
Yes.
0.5 centimeters thicker
No,
than
I-
you said it was going to be. But like, if you look at it from
Yes.
here to the pole, you're like, yep, that's the
That's
one.
the same, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're,
if you
we're on the
really-
same page with
If
that.
you really wanted to be super accurate, you could just project it and then go from there. But like, I feel like that's
That's a
not
lot.
necessary. Yeah.
Any other questions?
No
No?
more questions.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I will.
All right. Next, we have up SPAC 2514, Russell Mason, who I know couldn't be here, but yeah, come on up.
I'm Rachel Mason.
Oh,
Not Russell
perfect.
Mason. I can present for him.
Yep.
I love your. I love it. Oh, just cute.
Do you want- Yep. Yes. If you can, just make sure you speak into the mic too. Okay.
And the installation date
Okay,
for this.
so this is.
I just abstain. Yeah.
I have one in my classroom. It gives me the same trouble. All right, so there it is. So this is, it's going to go on 1827 South Ave, and this is a tribute to Eli Harris. I remember him from my undergrad days up at SU, just like exuding joy all the time up on Marshall Street. The building's going to be primed with a lexicon masonry paint. Then he'll get that up there. It will look exactly like that. He does use projection, so it will be exactly what you see there. It's going to take him about 3 to 4 weeks. He's going to seal it with an anti-graffiti varnish. He can't be here tonight because he's painting the side of a building down in Tampa. So he's used to painting on outdoor spaces all the time. He knows how to prime them. He knows how to make sure that it's varnished so that any graffiti that does go on there can be quickly and easily wiped off. He spoke with Eli Harris's daughter, and she loves the design, loves to tribute to her dad. He got verbal confirmation from her to use his likeness. She's emailing him. He may already have that in his inbox now, and he can forward that along to you. 3 to 4 weeks. He's looking to start that around July 16th.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. This-
Yeah, we drove by it.
I worked at Oasis for 4 years.
Okay.
And just that space that was chosen for that is just going to brighten that area up
It
so
really
much.
is. And I love all the color. It's just so bright and beautiful. It's going to be really nice.
Yeah. Any questions? Yeah. The only thing that for me is again just having that letter of permission for likeness, just because, and it's to protect him, protect the,
course.
protect everybody
Yes.
in part of it. But yeah, Russell's done great work. I've seen in the past, so I have no questions there. Anything?
I think it's great.
Awesome.
Okay, good.
I think, yeah,
right.
it's a great design. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think thank you again for presenting that,
Yeah.
and we will get back to everybody as soon as we can with just more information about the approval process of it.
Yes. All right, thank you so much.
Thank
Have a good
you.
night.
And next up, SPAC 2515, Cayetano Valenzuela. Come on up.
Hello.
Hello.
So my name is Cayetano Valenzuela, he, him. and I am going to talk about a mural at 415 West Onondaga, and it's a mural design. I'll let her get to the image.
You go on the side, and I think you can.
Oh yeah, there you go, right there. And so that's a mock-up of the proposed design. I talked with the owners, and they were looking for something that had some imagery of like Mexica culture and stuff like that, which that resonates with me, being a Texas Chicano and growing up with this sort of imagery. It just sort of like fell right into place. It's exactly the kind of stuff that I want to do in order to be able to give back to my community. And so we talked about it, went over some designs, and went there, spoke with them, and they loved this idea, so I went with it. And I would be painting it in the same way that I've painted some of the other murals that I've done around town, like the Mighty Salt City Syracuse mural and the Phoenix on the side of the Delavan building. It's all painted with exterior grade enamels, mainly for sign work, but it's all made to be mural work and be resistant to weather outside. And so like the one that I painted, see, probably 6 or 7 years ago now, still looks pretty brand new. Like it hasn't been, the color I don't think has faded at all. And so I'd be using probably Alpha Enamels or Ronin. I've used both those brands before, and they've both been like fantastic. And so I guess I'm not sure what else. I have a letter of,
Support, yeah.
yeah, letter of support and some examples of some of my other work. And so, yeah, I'm open to any questions if you guys have any.
I guess my one question is just more about the kind of electrical and lighting equipment.
But I would just be painting around that stuff. I'm not going to paint on it. I'll just paint around it.
Okay.
And so like there's a couple of things, like there's a handicap sign that needs to go there. So I'd ask them like if they would be able to just remove it while I paint, and then they would just put it back up.
And then put it back over.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I see.
Is that exposed brick behind the Quetzalcoatl?
It is exposed brick, and so like that was something that we talked about with the owners, that we weren't sure if they wanted to keep that brick or have it be primed as well. And so that would be the only thing that might change, is like there might be like the color, the rivulets of color would extend to the corner, or
okay.
I would basically prime that the shape of the Quetzalcoatl right there, and then paint over that. So it would be like that section would be in the shape of that primed, and so you would see that behind there, the brick behind there. But I think probably in the end it would probably make sense to prime the whole thing, but it will change like because when you come up to that building, you're going to see like the side of the facade right there, and so I think that sort of it wraps around the front a little. So.
I don't have any questions. I think it sounds great.
Yeah. Anyway, actually, I do have where the window comes up. Is that also, is that like, I guess I'm just wondering, like that bottom portion, is that part of like the actual frame? Is that just like?
Yeah, and I wouldn't paint on any of the metal structure there. I would basically just like hold it off there. I think I just like kind of put that when I
You
did
put the
mock-up.
design there just for
Yeah.
the mock-up purposes? Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. I get that. Yeah. Yeah.
415 West Onondaga, so, and what's there, is this a new business going in, or is the business existing there currently?
They exist there now.
They're existing.
This is Kaya. This is the one that the Onondaga County Public Art Project supported. Right?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, that one and the previous, I believe. As well. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't think, does anybody else have questions? No? Thank you so much, Gaia. We'll let you know when we can have our next meeting, but thank you. Always great work.
So much appreciate you.
And again, I want to say thank you again for all of you all for sticking with us. We know this is not a great situation, but I appreciate you all. And I appreciate all the work that you put into as the artists out there. As a working artist, I know it's not easy, so thank you. All right, and we have one final application, SPAC 2516, Sydney Schultz, Tenacity. Yeah. Come on.
My name is Sydney Schultz. I'm an artist in Syracuse, and I was approached by Lauren from FLAP, Friends of Light Art Park, to possibly do a temporary art installation in the park for the art extravaganza event on July 19th. I work with natural materials. This sculpture would be comprised mostly of willow. I recently spoke with, actually today, spoke with Dr. Timothy Volk from ESF, and he runs the Willow Woody Biomass project. So they have over, I think, 1,000 acres of willow, and he's allowing me to utilize that for this project. Yeah. And so the location of this would be in Lake Art Park. I received permission from Brendan Rose, who created this sculpture, I believe the cross arc. It was originally intended for CrossFit exercise, but it's not been utilized. So I have, a letter of recommendation from him and permission, as well as from Rick DeCito from the Gear Factory, who was involved in that project as well. Let's see if I can scroll down.
Let's close. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, try that one.
Perfect. You go.
I have a question about installation.
Yes.
So it says that you're going to be fabricating from June to July, and then are you going to install July 19th?
So it's as soon as I've been working on getting insurance, which hopefully by the end of today, I'll have that set. But up through July 19th is hopefully when I'm going to be installing it and have it finished by then.
What's the concern about like weather recently? Like, would there be any effect on it because of the rains?
So not really. I've worked in the rain, and it's a natural material, so it actually is more flexible when it's wet. A lot of the branches are going to be soaked prior to me actually sculpting with them.
Gotcha. That helps then, maybe.
Yeah.
Nice.
How long does the installation last?
So I wrote from June, which would be when I'm starting the installation, but it would be finished hopefully by July 19th to September. Hopefully through the season, at least.
Are you expecting it to like kind of maintain all of its characteristics through time, or do you expect any degradation?
So it's such a short time frame that I'm not expecting much change. The typical rule of thumb for wood is, for dryness is for an inch takes a year. So this is such a short time frame. I don't think there's gonna be much shrinkage. But I will come back and obviously monitor it.
Might look really great in the snow as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking that, and I might be able to get the insurance for an entire year, which would possibly allow for it to be longer.
You have to come back for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm
yeah,
assuming.
for right now, what would be?
We would want to approve it based on a time frame.
Yeah.
So whenever you start installation until the, completion of the project.
Right. Well, and the completion here actually on the application is November, so you have a little bit more
Okay.
time.
Yep.
So
So your start date though, like when, and I'm only asking in reference to like needing our approval, when do you think, like as soon as you get approval, you're gonna start kind of thing?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yes. I'm already kind of in the process of gathering materials and just not bringing it to the site yet.
Okay.
Is there any safety concerns? I'm thinking more just like small children and like because me as a small child, I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, tree thing, let me go in it. Is there any safety concerns, any issues that?
So I
yeah.
do want people to be able to interact with it. That is part of, nature. It is held together by tension. It's like, a basket that it's woven together. And so it is a relatively strong structure. But I will put up hopefully a little sign that says, please do not climb, and hope that people
Yeah.
abide by that.
That's fair. I mean, at some point, all you can do is be like, don't do this, and have it in
Yeah.
writing, and
Exactly.
that's the best you can do, honestly. Any other questions?
Wait, I actually do have another question. The parts where it kind of intersects with Brendan's sculpture, how do you plan to join those? Are you just going to weave through?
I'm going to weave through it.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, his sculpture is going to act as more as like an armature for mine. And I like the concept of interweaving both nature and this industrial sort of element.
Perfect in the space.
Yeah, it is.
With the train tracks directly behind the
Especially because they
Thank
don't
you.
get used.
Also, I think the prompt for this year's art extravaganza was art and invention, so kind of industry, and so I figured this would fit well with that theme.
This might be a stupid question, but do we have to talk to Brandon about
There's the-
interacting?
it's at the very
there is,
back.
okay, sorry.
There's
Thank you.
He's really excited to come and see it.
Yeah, I spoke with him earlier today. Yeah.
That's great. Love to see things like building on each other. That's really cool.
Awesome. There's nothing else. Thank you again to just make sure you get in those the insurance, all those materials in. But once we have our next meeting, yeah, we can vote on this. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I appreciate
job.
it. All right. So again, I appreciate you all for being here. That's the end of our the applications. We will now just move into discussion as the commission about some of the items on our list. Again, any of the applicants, you do not need to stay for this. But
It's
you're-
super exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna want to stay.
I was like, you're gonna want to
promise.
say this is the fun part. This
This
is
is-
where we get into bureaucracy
Right.
of art making, of course.
Thank you all
you.
very much.
Thank you,
We
everybody.
appreciate
And
you.
again, actually, just before people leave, we will be announcing and sending out emails when we will have our next meeting to have a quorum, so that way we can vote on the applications that were discussed tonight. And we will be sure to make sure all the commissioners watch this, so that way they understand what we are voting on. So thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thanks, y'all.
Have a good night.
Stay blessed.
All right. So next, yeah, we will move on to commissioner coordinator reports. Yeah.
Can I help you with something?
Yes. No, we can
No,
definitely.
no, it's great.
As I say, this would actually be part of, we can move one of the items up.
Do you want to speak in the mic?
Yeah.
So
go
it'll
ahead.
be recorded. Well, hi, I'm Emma Rader. I live here in downtown, and I've watched a couple of meetings online. And I heard you guys were looking for, or you are short a few members on your. You
Okay.
said you have 9 and you need 11. So I've
Yes.
applied online. I would be interested in joining. I don't know if there are any requirements that are needed to be on the commission. So let me know.
I actually did get your application, and
Oh,
I
yes.
forwarded it to Tina,
Yeah.
and I believe I forwarded it to you
I
and
did
to
see that
Cara.
one.
So it's wonderful to meet you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you guys too. So I don't know, let me know, or I'll just hang tight and see if I receive any more information.
No, definitely.
The one thing I'm thinking is we needed an artist and a non-artist, and we just we just
Accepted.
Accepted.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Accepted Lisa as I think the artist is the
Lisa Lambert?
council, and then
Yes.
the non-artist would be from the mayor. So
From the mayor, okay.
yeah. So I'm thinking that when we meet Monday or Tuesday next week, the commission can discuss your application, and then we can get right back to you. Do you have any questions about what we do, or?
No, I have maybe sort of a grasp on some things. I guess, you know, if I were to join, I'd have a lot of questions about like what all do you guys look for in every single application and what is needed for approval. But
Do you want to tell everybody what you do? Because you've done some really interesting things.
oh, sure. Well, for work, I work in like coatings and corrosion and stuff at Carrier. So I know a little bit on like the industrial side of like coating metals. But for fun, I do lots of fiber arts. So I spin my own yarn and I knit and I crochet. I do macrame. I do a little bit embroidery, but I don't do that often. Trying to get into weaving. So yeah, pretty much like anything with yarn, I do that. I do a lot of things with my hands. I used to draw and paint a little bit too, but those are my main art forms, are fiber arts.
So cool.
Very nice. Awesome.
Thanks for sharing that with us. Thank you.
Yeah, and I also do think there are some ways in which we can make the artist or non-artist case for a lot of people. I think in a lot of ways, like,
I mean, who's not an artist?
well, that's the thing
You know
is,
what I mean? Like, how do you
in
qua-
some
how
way,
do you
it's like,
qualify
how do you,
that way
qua-
even?
yeah, because I don't even know.
I think you
I didn't even know
qualify
that was a
because your
thing.
official
There's
I think
capacity
you're,
is
I think you're
engineering.
fine, dear.
You're fine. So yeah, no, we would definitely, we need to look into that process because I know that there's still those 2 open seats, but making sure that we go through those steps. Regardless, though, if you're not officially on the commission, we do have some other committees, some subcommittees, in which we are trying to work with things like fundraising, education, our social media. There's definitely other ways in which you can be involved, which we're trying to build with people. So that way, because we're all volunteers, this is a volunteer board, and is the only employee for this. So in a lot of ways, it is us doing this of our own free time. And so there's nothing stopping you from giving your own free time as well. And again, we really are trying to build a lot of those connections, relationships to continue doing this work. So, but yeah, I think next week we can definitely discuss this a lot more too.
And feel free to take a seat and stay for this part if you want to
Yeah, if
learn
you
more about what we
Really
do.
wanna see what you're getting yourself
Or
into.
take off if you have something
No, I'll
else to do.
stay if you guys are good with
Yeah.
that.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Feel free.
See, there's,
Here, I do have an extra meeting agenda if she wants to look.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. That is fair. Oh, perfect. So yeah, the first thing on the Commissioner Coordinator updates, manual sculpture loan project. Any updates on that?
On what?
On here it says sculpture loan project.
oh, looking at
Oh,
the
just on
meeting
what
minutes.
we were talking about when we
Yes.
met, about
Okay.
the students.
I think where it is now is that there's, first of all, there's a short-term project in process, right? Okay, and then probably by midsummer, we would be in a position to start to reach out to regional universities and museums to see if they would be interested in lending us art. The Parks Department is preparing to construct pedestals in 3 different parks, I think. So we'll be able to invite them to specific locations. Okay. And in the last discussion that I had over at Parks, there was also the thought of not just borrowing from institutions, but maybe ratcheting up a little bit and saying, offering challenges to master's students, for example, to do work that is site-specific, okay? So in other words, I mean, they're going to do projects anyway, and just as we in the landscape architecture program, we often reach out to real clients, and the students will do capstones for live clients. It ups everybody's game.
Absolutely.
But so the thought was is that if we say, well, look, you know, we've got in addition to the ones we've borrowed for, we've got a couple of sites, you know, I don't know, in Burnett Park or in you know, Thorndon or whatever, that we would say, you know, before the students start their work, that, you know, we're looking for a couple who are willing to meet the challenge of meeting these sites.
Right.
Okay? So we would hope to be able to elaborate on that possibility in some direct discussions with people from the institutions. But that'll be after they get a letter saying, are you interested in the lending
Right.
part of the
No, so yeah, so building that relationship first, and then kind of the next step would be, okay, so how can we get students or other professionals involved in that process? Very nice.
It's a way to commission art
Right.
without having a whole lot of money on the table.
Right, exactly. Okay. Yeah, because I'm thinking too, because that could also be an interesting pilot to then start doing like call for artists who may not necessarily be students. Not to say that we have to do that right away. I think that's a process, and it's
lend itself to a conversation about that.
right.
It's a good like precedent to set.
Yeah. What I'm wondering too, like, have we looked at what the policy is for like loaning, because it then becomes a temporary art piece.
Right.
And so I know that the question of how do we define temporary art? What are the ordinances on that? Insurance on that? Like, have we looked into some of those policies yet? If not, like, I totally get it, but
Maybe
Yeah.
something worth
Yeah, we
considering.
found out, so the Conservancy, so the Syracuse Parks Conservancy is going to fund the temporary commissions that are going to be from artists, so phase one. So they will carry the insurance for the art.
Yeah.
And the artist will carry the insurance to work on site. So it'll be both.
so the artist will have the insurance to do the work, but then after that, it'll fall back onto parks to
On the
You know,
Parks
Wait a minute, hold on.
Conservancy.
okay.
So that the work's insured.
It reduces some of the bureaucracy that would be involved if the city had to carry the insurance.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So
Because the
it's
city
not the
doesn't have
city,
to
but
ca-
it's
it's
to the
not the city.
conservatives. Gotcha.
It's the Parks Conservancy because the money is being offered by the Parks Conservancy to
Gotcha.
give a stipend to the artists so that they can actually get the work to the site and have it up. And then there's also an option for the artist to sell the work. You've seen other people in the country, across the country, like sculpture trails and parks. And there's actually, they do it at Oswego too, where they bring artists in to put work up and then it's loaned for like a 2-year period. And then you change it out and get different artwork for a 2-year period. So it's another cost-effective way of getting work in the community.
Gotcha. Did you?
I think and when you talk about like changing it out though, that, I mean, to me, that says dollars and cents, right? Because, I mean, that's just incurring more of a cost in either relocating something or replicating something or re-envisioning something. To me, that just says more money. So where would that be funded by the artist
So the
each
idea
time,
was,
or?
so the idea is that it's a temporary exhibit and that we can have more variety that way, and that it's we're paying to a stipend to the artist rather than paying for the thing to be permanently installed in a space, which would be a lot more expensive.
Sure.
I'm not really.
Get a Michelangelo's David, we'll find a way to keep it.
Right. Well, no, I guess to Maggie's point though, yes, but like I guess it's the rotation process because
Oh, I don't mean like rotate it to move it. I mean rotate it so it's here in Syracuse and then it goes
Right, but
away.
who's
Yeah.
assuming the cost of getting it out of here?
So
Or
the
bringing something else in?
So the stipend covers it. The artist covers the cost.
Okay.
For removal as well?
Yeah.
And the insurance?
Yeah.
Yikes. That's heavy.
yeah. Well, I guess again, yeah. The question I just have is like the policy for the length of period, because again, like if it's a 2-day,
I'm sorry, say that again. The policy
the
for
length, it's for the length of period. Basically the memorandum of understanding that says you're getting paid this much to have this sculpture here for, let's say, 5 months, because if that's the policy, that needs. I'm trying to flesh out what that means and what that looks like, because are we saying that we are going to have sculptures rotate every week? Are we going to have? Okay, that's the part that I was missing.
Every 2 years.
Okay, so
The thought is 2 or 3 years.
gotcha. Okay,
Okay.
because I think that's the part. Well, no, that's why I was like, well,
That's
but,
what I'm saying.
but
That's
you
what I thought
could,
the same
in
thing.
theory, that could happen. That's what I'm saying. It's
Because
not.
the definition of temporary art is still kind of fuzzy, right? And so it's kind of like temporary could mean 5 minutes, it could mean 3 years. And we've heard a lot of
Yeah.
different answers on that question. So that's why I was
That's why I
confused as well.
Yeah.
So like 2 years.
Yeah, the idea is to let the population get used to it and enjoy it for a while.
Sure.
And,
Embrace
you
it.
know, so, and also, I think the lending institutions, we want them to think that we're serious
Right.
Of course.
about this, that it isn't here today, gone tomorrow, that the goal is,
Right.
that they would see themselves as working with the city through the
Right. Through these.
Conservancy, working with the city to regularly provide serious art, and hence their participants in
Right.
our long-term strategy for public art in Syracuse.
No, absolutely. Yeah. No, and I really like the idea. I think this is actually great, and I think again it was just the question of like defining temporary art. What does that mean? What does that look like? Because I think that policy could be somehow incorporated into the ordinance and how we define temporary art. Because for me, when you say temporary art, I'm thinking less than a year.
I'm thinking a season,
Yeah.
usually, right?
So but if we're saying it's going to be 2 years, that changes how we can do some of these projects, because I know like even
It also changes how they're insured,
this is true. Yeah.
which also changes the cost to the artist.
Yeah, if they're permanent, then the city of Syracuse takes ownership of them, and the city insures them.
That's a good question, actually. The insurance would change. Like, does that also vary based on size? And like, so how is that equitable for the artists is my question. Like, is there a way to offset or grant or something?
I don't know. I mean, the examples that I've looked at and what I've seen, it's you get offered a stipend for your piece, and irrespective of size. I mean, there are some stipulations for stuff that's going to be in public parks as regards to it has to resist weather and ice.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it limits the amount of materials and stuff that you can use. It has to be fixed firmly to the ground. And so I guess in my imagination, I was thinking something that would be kind of human size or bigger. But
Right.
I mean, you could have something that's small.
Right. Well, no, and I think it's just because I want to say that like I'm not trying to like poo-poo on this idea or anything.
No, it's
but
great to
I
hear
really
your
like
thoughts.
this.
No, it's
And like I think it could be something that we flesh out of like again like what does that sizing look like? What does that time frame look like? Is it just a year, 2 years? You know,
I mean, it could easily be a
and
year.
also does that account for installation, deinstallation? How does that kind of because then
Parks are going to help with the installation and deinstallation as far as actually physically setting the piece in space. So if there needs to be some equipment that is,
Right.
we have equipment that can be used to help install the pieces.
no, yeah,
And I
A
think
sense of direct partnership with
right.
the construction teams that the Parks Department uses. So, and also in thinking about scale, I think the responsibility would be on us in when we
Select
reach out
pieces,
to an
right.
organization to say, here's the site,
Right.
okay, and this is how big it is, and and there's a big grove of trees, or there's benches, or there's a community building in the background,
Right.
And so that the artists can begin to also think about, from their point of view, how to fashion a sense of scale.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
And I guess this is a pilot from all perspectives as far as there will be problems because it's the first time engaging in and it doesn't preclude or exclude any other projects as when I go through this, because I think that now that is fleshed out a little bit, that project, it's time to think about what other goals the commission should have.
Yeah.
Well, I
for the
also
next
think-
year as far as another project to take on. Oh.
Sure. I apologize. I totally interrupted you. Go ahead. I think that Sophia, though, and I can appreciate, well, like everyone's got to start somewhere, and everything has to have a pilot. Because I think Sophia said a very important, integral word in everything that we do is precedent. This might be the first time that we're doing it. But you have to remember that every time we make one of these decisions, there's someone out there that we've said, no, you can't do that, and then we're doing it.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not saying that's a necessarily indirect conflict, but I'm just saying, like, as the rules like change and evolve, and as we work through these processes, I think it's just important to be cognizant of the fact that, like, with if the city is going to be more involved in a project like this, but they've like maybe refused to be involved in other aspects in different ways, then like it kind of does feel like standardization and
No,
setting a
flesh that out a
precedent.
bit, where there's a contradiction, because
Well, I think just in, like, I mean, we've even heard in our own feedback and different things that, like, if the city hasn't been able to provide certain things or has required certain things, like, a couple years ago, and then things have changed since then, there isn't, like, the standardization and the precedent hasn't been firmly set, where I think sometimes with pilot programs and stuff, it's like, yeah, we're going to try it and see how it goes. But trying it and see how it goes, meaning, like, I just want to be careful that we are playing that everything is as standardized as possible, I guess is what I'm trying to say, if that makes sense.
So what I can do to try and think that through more is I can send you guys the RFP that I drafted so that you can check it for things like that and see where your mind goes when you read it.
Yeah. No, I think that would be great because, again, we got to keep in mind that, like, again, also the equity part of it. Because as a grad student, I know sometimes my colleagues and even myself, like, the work is not necessarily up to snuff. Not to say that it's bad, but we're going to see a variety of things. And that's just one example. But even to loaning from institutions, what work they have, we don't know yet. And so I guess I'm just trying to kind of get at a point where how can we make this as fair as possible, as transparent as possible.
Transparent's a great word.
And really just kind of make sure that we are taking care of the artists, the institutions, the artwork itself, and putting a good foot forward, because I do think this could be a very beautiful program. I think this is something that could be very beneficial for all parties involved. But I just want to be delicate and careful with that as we kind of let the bird fly, so to speak. So
I think one of the other things that we have talked about is that we're trying to negotiate space for public art in the Almond Street corridor, after the viaduct comes down. And that's far enough away that if we can build a relationship with a stable of lenders, so that by the time it's time to think about something in the Business 81 corridor, we have a smooth relationship, a process, all those kinds of very edgy things that you're talking about that might have been worked out earlier by trying to do it in the parks. And part of the rationale for doing in the parks for as a trial is that you have teams that can talk to each other within the same department.
Correct.
Okay. The Parks Department has construction teams. They have a design team. They have a forestry team. They have a public art team. Okay. And that it makes it a little easier to get things in place than if we had to say reach out to Public Works.
Right. Of course.
To get say the pedestals done or something like that. So.
I like what you're saying, because working in the public realm is different from a group that has their own art park, because then their parameters are very different.
Awesome. Okay. I think let's, for the sake of time, if we can just go through some of these other updates.
All right, some of these other updates are pretty quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say some of these seem pretty straightforward. So, Lipe Art Park Festival, I know that's kind
Yeah,
of
because
moving.
Tina's not here today, unfortunately. So we had a meeting. We discussed logistics, more or less, when they can start working. The T panels, the frames have gone in for the bases.
Yep.
They've got vendors, they've got bands. The schedule's between 12 and 5, I believe, open to the public. Parks are going to provide some family art events to attract more parts of the community to the festival. I don't know whether anybody has any questions about Lipe Art Park right now. You were at the meeting too, so you can augment what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's moving forward. There's also a partnership with an organization called Code Shift at SU. They provide interns, grad and undergrad students who are going to help do some engagement and some data collection for us. And Yeah, I mean, these murals were here at our last meeting. So they're the same ones that we just reviewed for Light Art Park that are going to be implemented in, for this event specifically. It's part of the art trail as well, so it's part of like the larger 10-day long event series.
Yeah, Tina sent me the flyer earlier, and it looks pretty cool.
I have some if you want any.
Actually,
perfect,
I
yeah.
do. If you
Yeah,
want
send,
some.
well, if you have the.
No, I
digi-
told Lauren I'd put some around downtown. Yeah, yeah.
if y'all have
I
it,
put it in
yeah.
the corner. I can give you some.
Okay,
and
perfect. I can
send it
literally put it in my
digitally,
backpack.
because I don't know if we've shared it on SPAC social
Yeah,
media.
no, I didn't get a copy yet. So, but as soon as it is you or I could
Yeah.
send.
I don't know if I have the
Cool.
digital. I'll text her.
All right.
Well,
Next.
they posted, is this the one? Is this what the flyer looks like?
Oh, wait, yes, I did get that. It's been a Tuesday. I don't know what time it is, or
Benny,
anyway.
stop making excuses.
Anyway,
So the website I met again today. We have actually got some work accomplished the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
On our website?
Yep.
Hot dog.
I've been working on it. We have been trying to it's been some coding stuff that I have been watching them do to link up parts of the website that weren't linked before so we can get it function. I guess the biggest point is that I asked today about like a potential date when we can have a trial. And we're thinking like 3 or 4 weeks.
okay.
So I need to go in and put larger file sizes in of the photographs because they were reduced to small file sizes. So I would say we needed a couple more meetings, and then we'll be in shape to give you access so that you can have a look at it and see what you think. And name's gone. The gentleman I'm working with, Jason. He said he would like to come to the meeting in August. So once you've looked at it, then he can help with feedback because he's the expert, not me.
Okay. Yeah. Can we put a tentative July 14th? That's 4 weeks from now.
Yeah, I'm not here on the 14th of June.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
As a
But as a
finish by date.
tentative, because I know you're taking
Oh, no,
some time.
I'll be back like the 16th.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if we can have just something, even if it's like, hey, it's not gonna happen, I would rather just have that come from the horse's mouth and say, nope, it's not ready. Than like, oh, it's gonna be this, and then it's gonna be this, and then it's gonna be this.
So we've worked on embedding the registry form today, the application for public art so that it's online to try and get that functioning. So those parts are now functioning.
Yeah.
So we have, after a long time of not making much progress, we have actually been doing some work on it.
No,
So,
I totally believe it. But again, as we kind of discussed, like I think there's parts of things that like we're not gonna know it's not working until someone accidentally does something. And that's the thing is, if we can at least as a commission start looking at it, we can kind of flesh those things out and be like, oh, actually, this is kind of, and also too, like as someone who's done coding for websites, sometimes when you're so deep into it, you think red and magenta are different colors when really they're kind of the same. You know, and that's sometimes like, and I get it. Like, I've done coding, I've done website building. Like, you can get so into weeds that you lose it. So I think if other people's perspective can just give a fresh eye.
It'll be great to have you guys test it. So we'll keep plodding away at it the best we can. It's getting 4 people into a room at the same time is sometimes tricky.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I gotta jump out of here real quick. Just real before we do, could we just chat really quickly about a potential for a meeting in the next couple days?
Yeah.
I know that I'm free this upcoming Monday, but I am not on Tuesday afternoon.
Well,
I'm also free Monday. I could also possibly do Tuesday.
It's just so we've
Actually-
got what?
Do we have, okay, actually, because this is a big concern now, because I thought in order to have a special meeting, especially a voting meeting, that we need to announce it a few weeks in advance.
what day is it today? So it's Tuesday. I can put it up and it's 5 days. So I can, if we can get to, it's still 5 days in advance.
If
we
you can
do it
just
tomorrow.
confirm that that is the ordinance, that that's the rule, because I don't want us to have to come in on a Monday, call everyone back in, and realize that like per the ordinance, per
Wednesday,
the rules,
Thursday,
like, we
Friday,
can't do
Monday,
it.
so if we did it, if you
We put it up tomorrow
if
on
you
the
put up tomorrow,
website.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, so we could meet on Wednesday.
We can't use Saturday, Sunday.
I can't be
I
there on
thought it was
Wednesday.
business days. Can it be?
I think it would, I don't know, that's why I'm asking,
Yeah.
because if it is,
I will check
Okay.
with Kate.
I was gonna say, that's
let you
something
know.
that needs to be done like as soon as possible, and unfortunately, if not, then
Because we're already missing, the power boxes we're missing, they wanted to start on Saturday, but they're
Yeah.
willing to delay, which is great. But the one that really can't push is the Juneteenth. That's
Yes.
Joey's project.
Yeah.
So that's 6/19. So that's, we have to like dead drop meet before Thursday.
Yeah, if not,
So
then
like
they just
Wednesday
can't
is
do
kind
it.
of, they
and
literally
that's-
can't do it.
Yeah. So those are the things. So if you can just, again, check the ordinance, make sure that we can legally do this, and that we are not, because that's the thing is because I'm not concerned about me doing it. I'm concerned
Right.
with telling these artists, oh, they can't do it.
Agreed.
And then now they're breaking some kind of code, breaking
So
some kind of issues.
You can do Monday or Wednesday next week, not Tuesday.
Correct. But I mean, if worst case scenario, if I could be 10 minutes late or 15 minutes late on Tuesday, I probably could skirt over
Yeah.
or something.
I can do Monday and Tuesday, but not Wednesday.
On what day? On Monday?
So,
But if we need 5 days, right, if we need 5 days, then if
I'm
you-
looking it up right
Okay.
now, actually.
yeah.
It's like, what if you
Could you
did it
meet
tonight?
on the
What if you,
5th day?
what if you posted it like before we left tonight? Would that be day one? I don't know.
These are just the concerns, because, and again, I'll be frank, like, it's unfortunate that this is it, but if we can't do it, we have, it's just
We'll
gonna-
find a way. We'll
it's
find
just
a way.
gonna
Let's
suck.
not, let's
Yeah.
stay positive.
Oh,
We'll
no, no,
find a way.
I'm sure we're gonna make this happen. It's just the, you know.
Yeah.
My pen now.
Okay. We've already
Okay.
add that to your list.
So, no, you're good. Yeah. Awesome. And if not,
You having fun yet? This is really riveting stuff, right?
what was I saying?
We normally have pizza and beer, but Danny forgot to bring it this time.
Not donated.
We never have pizza or beer.
Okay, commission members provided that such written notices, hang on a minute, additional meetings may be called at the discretion of the chairperson, or, so that would be
Yeah, what do you
you,
mean? Yeah.
or at the written request of 5 commission members, provided that such written notice delivered to the chairperson at least 5 working days in advance of such a special meeting. So that makes it Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay, so today is Tuesday.
So I could
today
put
is
it-
day one. So if I write on a piece of paper
Yeah.
that we want to have a special meeting right now, is that day? Would that be day one?
I could put it up on the computer today.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I have your pen?
So,
So that's day 1,
math. Do math.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
Monday, Tuesday.
Monday. So it could be Mondays. If it's today's 1,
Yep,
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday.
Do we know what this has to say? Does it matter?
You want a special meeting to vote on proposals to install public art in the city of Syracuse.
Emergency
I don't think it's a
Special
a
meeting.
special meeting.
meeting to be held.
And this needs to be sent to the chair, or
Yeah.
yes.
To,
Maggie, I think you would probably need to type
Email
this
it?
up, email it,
well,
send
I'm
it.
writing it down so I know what to type up,
Okay,
but I
gotcha.
can type it up when I get on the bus.
Yes. Okay.
Discuss and
also take-
approve. I'm not taking your pen.
No, I can take.
Okay.
I live in your neighborhood.
Oh. Oh yeah.
Anyway, I think we can continue to move on
Okay,
as
but I'm
Maggie.
gonna send that. Well, then, if that's the case, then I don't have to leave. So I'll just write this right now,
Yes.
and I will email it to what, Benny, Tina, and Ann.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we can get it posted and
And then I can post it.
yeah. All right.
And then, but we have to find somebody as
Shit, no,
well
I do
that
have to
can
go.
participate we need to find at least one more commissioner for Monday for the
Yeah.
meeting.
That's the thing.
And
So
Benny. But I can.
we
I'm gonna
will
bribe
make
people.
this happen. We will
Tina.
make this happen.
Special meeting request.
Is there anything else major that we would like to discuss before?
No, just the list is, the survey data went out, people were appreciative. That was a great thing to have accomplished. Well done, Benny, for putting the survey together and for analyzing the results. That was great. The public art application now has the insurance requirement for if you're going to install on public art.
Yep.
So that's on the application now. We can leave the next item until later, like next time we meet. The other one is about applying or looking at ways that we can have a project, a
Application.
goal for the second half of the year, thinking about a space that we'd like to put something in and put funding towards. And then the other one is an equity inclusion policy because we don't have one. Fortunately, America for the Arts had a beautiful template, which is an open use template on it. So I was able to cut, copy, and paste from there. So there's a draft now that you can look at the next meeting.
Yep.
And I'll also let you know where I got it from so you can look at the other iterations so we can piece together what fits best for the commission.
Yep.
The end.
Yep. So yeah.
I'd like to formally request a special meeting with the Syracuse Public Arts Commission be held to discuss and approve public arts projects in Syracuse. I'd like to request that this meeting transpire as soon as possible as the applications and questions are time sensitive.
Perfect.
I'm sending this to Tina, Benny, and Ann.
Yep. Okay. Awesome.
And it's amazing what you can find on your phone when you remember where it is.
And yeah, I think a lot of this other stuff, the report, the NISC application, all this other stuff that
Oh,
we haven't
hang
got.
on a minute. Somebody is listening.
Yep.
There's a planning meeting for Monday night already. So we could try and meet in the I lab.
That would be fine because realistically, do we need the applicant there to vote?
No.
We don't
already
need the applicant.
presented.
We just need the commissioners there. We just need to be in a space where we can discuss. It needs to be open meeting. That's the only thing.
And if we need to find a way to record it, that if we're in a space that doesn't have recording capabilities, we can find a way to record it if we absolutely have to. I can
So-
set up my phone in the back of the room.
Yeah, and I think there's a ways that we can do it. And yes, if there is a planning meeting, that's totally fine. But realistically, it's more just the fact that we as the commission need to be there so that we can vote on it. Because we've heard this, we can make sure to send everybody. Please be sure to, if there's any questions, let us know. Review this recording, and yeah.
And would you mind just checking your email before just because I had those troubles before, I just want to make sure that went through okay. It's very nice to meet you.
Yes.
Hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
It went through? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Are we putting it on Instagram?
No, we just.
Good night, everyone. See you
Yeah.
later.
Have a good night.
Care.
Is that something?
Thank you for your time.
I mean, I feel like that's something that would be interesting to put up on Instagram, the survey data responses.
Oh, yeah.
I have we can just, yeah.
We have copies of it. So
Post that.
I think we can do, that
So-
should be easy, yeah.
your last formal duty
nice.
of the evening should be to
Oh, I call the meeting to close, yes.
I
I wasn't sure if I had to because we can't.
it's good for CNY because they'll cut the.
Oh, okay,
tape
yeah.
off.
So yeah, I call the meeting to close. Thank you all. It's a Tuesday.
Wahoo.